That's right.
Hello?
Yes. Down the middle there. He's gone. I had to get her make all of it.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, we did it. Yeah, that's what I did.
Can you hear me?
Good morning, Perry.
Morning, PT.
Yeah.
Morning, Peter.
Good morning.
I was just curious where it was. Arkansas is pretty state.
Yeah, I was thinking about someone like if it's anywhere near Little Rock. Jerry, don't forget to hit record. Okay.
Eddie called me on Goonan.
1 minute.
Everybody's called.
Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma Tribal Council regular session will come to order. Let's stand for opening prayer and the pledge, please. Chaplain.
Our Father, we thank you for this beautiful day, Lord, that you have given us. We thank you, Father, for traveling grace here today. And Lord, we just are so very thankful in our hearts for this time that we have to serve, and what a privilege it is, Father, to be right where we are. And Lord, may we always remember those and the sacrifices that went on before us, what they gave, Father, their lives and the things they went through so that we could be where we are right now. May we always be mindful of that and put the people, Lord, where they need to be, Lord, that we serve them and from our hearts, Lord, that we ask for guidance, wisdom, for health, Lord, that you would continue to strengthen us, Father, as we do the work. And we thank you for all the many blessings that you continue to bestow upon our great nation. And Lord, we just ask for health and peace for our people. We ask for you to continue to direct us, Lord, direct us in our paths, Father, that we don't get too busy, Lord, that we might forget about the most important things, Lord, and that is you and our people. Thank you for this day. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Thank you. Roll call.
Thomas Williston.
Here.
Tony Ward.
Present.
Eddie Bohannon.
Here.
Jess Henry.
Here.
Don Perry.
Here.
Jennifer Woods.
Present.
Joey Tom.
Here.
Perry Thompson.
Here.
James Dry.
Here.
Anthony Dillard.
Here.
Robert Carr.
Here.
James Frazier.
Here.
Approval of minutes, regular session August 13th, 2022. Also special session August 18th, 2022. Here a motion for approval.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Questions or comment?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. And I just noticed this, but on our regular session minutes for August 13th, in the first welcome guest and special recognitions, there where we did the District 11 language, it says Councilman Dillard stated Ms. Thomas is not only a first language speaker, but is also the head cook at the College Community Center.
Needs to be changed to Mr. Carr.
Yes,
Gotcha.
I'll give him any credit.
He agrees totally though.
Changes have been noted.
You're welcome.
Vote.
Speaker Williston.
Yes.
Tony Ward.
Yeah.
Eddie Bohannon.
Yes.
Jess Henry.
Yes.
Don Perry.
Yes.
Jennifer Woods.
Yes.
Joey Tom.
Yes.
Perry Thompson.
Yes.
James Dry.
Yes.
Anthony Dillard.
Yes.
Robert Carr.
Yes.
James Frazier.
Yes.
All right. Good morning, everybody. I'd like to take a moment to welcome everybody here today. It's been a beautiful day and nice day to be out and about. And I'm certainly glad that you're here, each and every one of you. As customary, we recognize certain individuals from our district each month. And this month has to be District 12. We'll recognize Veteran of the Month, Mr. Walter Phelps. Is he in attendance?
Yes, sir. He is, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. Mr. Phelps, would you approach the podium, please?
There's a microphone up there if you want to use it.
Betty, would you come forward too, please?
I think I got it on now. Okay.
Citation for Mr. Phelps. Whereas Walter Phelps, a proud member of the Choctaw Nation, was born on January 16, 1947 in Wilburton, Oklahoma. Mr. Phelps attended Wilburton Public School Systems and graduated in 1996. After completing high school, he voluntarily joined the United States Air Force, enlisting on July 5, 1966, and was sent to Lackland Air Force Base for basic training. Mr. Phelps went to Shepherd Field in Wichita Falls, Texas, for technical school as a jet engine mechanic. Wow. Okay. Upon completion of this training, Mr. Phelps was given orders to Davis Montana Air Force Base in Tucson, Arizona. He was assigned to the Strategic Air Command. Mr. Phelps was then changed of duty to support the branch. He was given a medical discharge on November 1967. Whereas Mr. Phelps married Miss Betty Kirk on December 27, 1969. He attended Eastern Oklahoma State College, but graduated from Southeastern Oklahoma State University with a bachelor's degree in industrial maintenance in 1976. He then became an auto mechanic instructor for the Commissioning Vocational Technical School. He taught for many years and retired in 1992. He has 3 children, 4 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. After retiring, Mr. Phelps volunteered at the Crowder Community Center and became an employee in 2010. He also volunteers around the community doing such things as delivering meals to elderly. He also drives the shuttle bus when the elders take trips. Mr. Phelps is a profound influence in the area and will help as much as he can. Whereas the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma holds our veterans in the highest esteem and appreciates the sacrifice and contributions they have made to preserve our freedom and the way of life we hold dear. Whereas the Tribal Council of the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma takes immense pride in honoring Walter Phelps as Veteran of the Month. Now, therefore, pursuant to the motion of Chief Gary Batten, the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma extends to Mr. Walter Phelps sincere commendations, directs this citation to be presented. Signed by Chief Gary Batten, Assistant Chief Jack Austin Jr., and District 12 Councilman James Frazier. Mr. Phelps, we want to give you that, and I want to shake your hand and say thank you for your service. Also, I'd like to add that Mr. Walter Phelps does many more different things for the Crowder Community Center, along with not only driving the bus, but doing all he can. I mean, he goes over and beyond. He really does a good job for us, and we appreciate you so much, Mr. Phelps. And you too, Betty. He can't do it without Betty right behind him.
That's right.
But anyway, what do they say? Behind every good man is a good woman or better woman.
That's right.
I'll present this to you.
Ms. Phelps, if you want to hold this citation. There we go.
Is any other family members?
Carolyn?
You in the picture?
Yeah. I've got her phone.
There's always a good sister behind every good man.
Thank you. Well, yes, I'm sorry.
On behalf of Tribal Council, Mr. Phelps, thank you to you for your service, and thank you to your family for the sacrifice that you've all made. Okay, second on the special recognition, we recognize our first language speaker each month by district. Again, it's District 12. First language speaker, Choctaw language speaker, Miss Paula Carney. Is Paula Carney in attendance?
Yes, she is.
Miss Carney, would you approach the podium, please?
Morning, Miss Carney. How are you? Okay. Recognizing our Choctaw Anopa speaker. Did I do that correctly? Thank you. The Choctaw Nation Tribal Council recognizes the importance of perpetuating and protecting the Choctaw language. It is vital to the sovereignty of the nation. The Tribal Council has implemented a new initiative to hold and recognize first speakers of the 12 districts. Each month, a speaker will be recognized by the host district of that council at the council meeting on the second Saturday of each month. This September 10th, 2022 meeting hereby recognizes Ms. Paula Carney from the District 12. And in recognition and what Paula, she received her education at the Wheelock Boarding School in Chilocco Indian School near Ponca City, where she experienced the government's mandates of stripping the native language from children. Through it all, Paula has held closely her love of the language and continues today in the aspects of teaching and speaking the language. She's also a very active member of the District 12 Senior Citizens, leads prayers in Choctaw, and loves leading and singing Choctaw hymns. She's a certified community language teacher, has been for 23 years. Paula's taught children's language classes, adult classes, and at the community centers, and taught the Choctaw language to elementary through high school students in 2 different public schools. Has coordinated trips to take the children's language classes of District 12 to participate in the Sam Noble Language Fair. Ms. Carney, what year was that? We won up there.
So many times.
We won. Yep.
Brought home the gold every time.
Every time. That's great. That's great. Served, and she also served on the Choctaw Language Dictionary Committee. So I appreciate the language department for all they do for us. And if they would come forward, I would like to have them take a picture with us, please. Yes, and the family. Yes, the family, please come forward.
Councilman Fraser,
Yes.
if you don't mind, I remember we had conversation and you did mention that she was a foster mother.
Yes,
Several children.
Yes, we was talking about that Wednesday at the community center, and she had mentioned to me she had fostered 53 children throughout her term. So that deserves a hand in itself right there. So,
Well, I couldn't do it without the directors.
yes, that's true.
Directors, Terry, Gene,
That's
and
different.
Mr. Parrish, all of you.
Okay, Paula, this is your certificate of recognition for Miss Paula Carney.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Now, Miss Teacher, would you read that to me?
Chattanooga, Hotel, Ishishika, Ichi, yeah, okay.
Meaning,
For upholding the Choctaw language, and Ishi Ka Ichi, okay, is giving me the recognition. Yes, an honor.
yes.
Yeah, cookies, thank you.
We appreciate you so much. Miss
Okay,
Paula.
yeah, cookie, thank you, James.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Public comments. You said Mr. Donnie Glass is individual speaker, wishes to address council. Do I hear a motion for council to allow Mr. Glass to make his presentation?
Make a motion.
Motion made, seconded. Questions or comment? Vote.
Speaker Williston,
Yes.
Tony Ward,
Yes.
Eddie Bohannon,
Yes.
Jess Henry,
Yes.
Ron Perry,
Yes.
Jennifer Woods, Joey Tom,
Yes.
Perry Thompson,
Yes.
James Dry,
Yes.
Anthony Diller,
Yes.
Robert Carr,
Yes.
James Frazier.
Yes.
Mr. Glass, would you approach the podium, please? Good morning, Mr. Glass. You have 3 minutes to make your presentation. Our recording secretary, Ms. Patty, will advise you when to start. She will advise you when you have 30 seconds left.
Okay.
You ready?
1 second. First time, I'd just like to say thank you. First time speaker here. And you know what? I've lived in Tulsa most of my life, and I moved back to McAllister about 3 or 4 years ago, and I didn't realize how much the Choctaw Nation does for their people, and you guys do a lot. I just want to acknowledge that. All right.
Okay.
Now, all these people receiving these rewards, they are well deserved. I hate to be the wet blanket here, but yeah. I just got something that I'd like to bring up. This is no secret, you know, and this has nothing that comes from this, but has nothing to do with it. I got fired about 2 months ago. And the point I want to bring up to is when I sat there and I did that, and they said, well, you could appeal to the HR and send it to the ethics committee. Well, it was a good idea. The concept is good. But the outlet, when we send stuff to them, and we could go up there and tell them that this never happened, this didn't happen. We could send paperwork that shows it didn't happen. We could send people's names and witnesses that will verify that nothing happened. And you just keep, you know, it's like running into a door. You keep slamming on it time to get to it. And you can't get nobody to believe you when you're the low person at the Choctaw Nation. And we are the low people. And like I said, when this happened, I went and did everything they did it by the book. Went and talked to HR, went and sent my paperwork into HR. I went and sent my paperwork into the ethics committee. And I could have swore there was ethics violations, but ethics committee sent it back to me and says, oh, they did nothing wrong. Well, the deal is these people are in upper management out there. And when they go in there, they all work together. They're all friends. And people just automatically assume that they're the ones that's right. And the rest of us that get out there helping, moving senior citizens, doing this, fixing lunches and everything else, that we're replaceable. So they don't care what we think. And that's become a problem lately because you got people up there that are just, okay, well, it's just another one sitting in. We don't have to worry about it because we don't win no arguments with this. The ethics committee, there was a part put in there at one point where somebody from management called another person, what is it called? Tell them to get their fat ass down here and start doing something. And that was put into the complaint to the ethics committee. But apparently the ethics committee figures that's good management that for them to say that it's allowable. I wouldn't think so, but apparently the ethics committee for the Choctaw Nation said
30 seconds.
that is good. So I just want to let you know that somebody needs to look into this. The people that work on the bottom of the Choctaw Nation, when we lose our job or when we say something that looks like to people that at least try to act like they pretend to listen to us. You know, don't just ignore us and push us out the door. And that's what happens to a lot of them. And it's something that needs to be looked at. Now, I've got some paperwork here that I was wanting to give out. You think
Can you hand it out afterwards?
I can do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That I would like to give each one of you that has a little something that needs to be looked into. Maybe, maybe not. It depends on how you look at it.
Okay, thank
But
you.
anyway, thank you guys for your time, and I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Phelps. Duly noted. So,
Mr. Glass. Mr. Glass.
oh, Glass. I'm sorry.
Well, I was gonna leave it at that. That way, if you didn't like it, you can blame you.
Again, thank you, Mr. Glass. Reports of committees. For the benefit of the audience and all our people that are tuned in, we have requested our senior executive officers from the administration division, the executives on the executives branch, to come and make a presentation today. These individuals, they have a tremendous job duties as big as each individual that we've invited here today has, if you picture an umbrella, they have many programs and personnel under their supervision, and they come to give broad overview as to what happens or what's going on within their department. Just a broad overview, and they could speak all day about their program, but we asked them to condense it down to a reasonable amount of time. So at this time, I'd like to invite to Assistant Chief. He is to initiate the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and Council. Appreciate the opportunity to come before you and discuss the budget and just kind of highlight some of the important areas that we feel like need to highlight it. As you said, you and the council had requested for us to be here and our leadership team to briefly give an overview of our budget. Like you said, our team is very versed and can speak about their individual divisions all day. They have a lot of great work going on for our people, but I just want to say thank you. One thing, before I get too far, I want to say thank you to our tribal council and all of our leadership for last weekend. Labor Day weekend was a success. I know this is a week after, and we still see a little bit of leftover on the grounds, but I just want to publicly acknowledge all of you as council and our leadership back here for making it a success. But getting into the budgets or the budget numbers and percentages, I want to mention Choctaw Nation's 5-year strategy. And what I have here is our strategic plan. And I know our tribal council has seen this numerous times. And I just want to highlight a little bit of it because it does connect to our budgets. When we ask our leadership to go back and form budgets, we actually ask them to connect it to our strategic plan, our 5-year strategy. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about it and highlight it. Again, I'm not going to go in depth in it, but the 5 areas that we concentrate on is strengthen financial growth and economic sustainability. Under that, there are several areas that they focus on, but overview of that is ensure the financial sustainability of growing our businesses, reducing costs, and strengthening local economies. The next pillar or goal is to support service delivery to improve quality of life, enhance the well-being of our tribal members, and allocating resources and remaining committed to improving quality of life, tribal member self-sufficiency, and independence. Our third pillar is protect and promote Choctaw culture and exercise sovereignty. Under that is assert, defend, protect, and promote our rights as a sovereign nation to improve the economic, environmental, social, and cultural proprietary. Fourth is become the employer of choice. Under that, in that area, is attract, retain, and support professional growth and develop a diverse workforce for the Choctaw Nation in our local communities. Lastly, fifth, achieve digital, data, and communication transformation. Strategically position the Choctaw Nation in the digital economy through adoption and implementation of broadband technology, analytics, messaging, and innovations. And I think we can all say that we're seeing that more and more important nowadays. But that is our 5-year strategic plan or strategies. And like I said, under that, there's many areas of focus that, and I won't go into it, it's rather long. But this, what our strategy does, it helps keeps us focused and intentional on serving our people and meeting our needs of our Choctaw people for the tribe, for the future. Again, I would just wanted to mention the strategic plan. And one thing too, I want to kind of try to connect the dots for everybody. One of our strategic plans, excuse me, support service delivery. You heard me talk about the strategic pillar alignment. Support service delivery to improve quality of life of our tribal members. Under that, as an example, is our housing project. So we, Chief and this leadership team came before council and had a vision to meet this strategic pillar of creating 1,000 new rooftops in the Choctaw Reservation. So far, we've completed 702, and we have 316 under current construction, with a total of 1,018 houses approved. So that's making sure we connect that to our strategy. I just want to give that as a slight example. Our senior executive officer team here today will speak more directly to the strategies and budgeting numbers in just a second. This year's revenue increased by $431 million or 20.6% from last year. This includes revenue from the general fund, commerce, and Choctaw Global. Our operating expenses increased by $173 million, or 12.27% from last year. This includes the same areas I mentioned for the review earlier: general fund, commerce, and Choctaw Global. We are increasing our maintenance capital expense by $149 million. In maintenance capital expense, for all of you, for our audience that is listening, maintenance capital expense is the term we use essentially for the upkeep of all of our facilities. Our current capital expense increased by $158 million from last year. This is for current approved projects such as wellness centers, housing, clinic expansions, etc. You'll hear more in detail again from these senior executive officers here in just a second. And I wanted to keep my comments brief because I want them to be, our senior executive officers, to be able to give more in detail a little bit about what they have planned, a little bit more about their budgets. Again, this is a broad overview. Now I'm going to ask Ms. Jeannie Dillard, Senior Executive Officer of our Commerce Division, to speak about her division's budget.
Thank you all. So good to be here today. This is I'm Jeannie Dillard, Senior Executive Officer, Division of Commerce, and I've been with our tribe for 40 years. This is the first time in history I've ever known I've had to come before anyone except the council and talk to you all about my budget. So I am honored to be here today. I'm honored to talk before each and every one of you, and I'm honored to be a part of this tribe. I started back in 1987, opened up the first bingo hall. We celebrated our 35-year anniversary last month. It was phenomenal. A lot of you all have probably been in that facility many years ago. So it's been a phenomenal ride, and I've loved every minute of it. I love my history. I'm a quarter-blood Choctaw, and I love that I am a quarter-blood Choctaw, and I love my history. I love the tribal people, and that's why I stay very focused on the tribal people. In my division, and I'm very nervous today. I don't know why. I could talk all day long about anything for most of you all that know me, but this has been the most nervous and stressed out I've been in my life. Due to the fact is I'm talking before tribal members. I'm talking before tribal individuals that it's just these are some big numbers that we're going to talk about today. And when we talk about these big numbers, it's sometimes you just lose all thought, because we're going to talk about millions and millions of dollars, and it is phenomenal. Our gaming request this year for 2023 will be 769. Our overall commerce request will be $769,790,110. Now that is, we work on a trailing 12 months, so that's looking at us through the eyes of July. But right now, if you look at us over the period of the last 5 years, our growth has been phenomenal. Back in 2018, we had a total EBITDA. And when I say EBITDA, that's earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. Most businesses look at EBITDA. That's your net. That's basically your net bottom line. Okay. So when I say that, I know I had to learn that acronym. I had to learn what that meant whenever I went into working in the business environment. So when I say that our EBITDA in 2018 was $441,721,446. Now that was in 2018. And today I'm before the council asking for approval to have a budget request of $769,790,110. That is nearly a 40% growth over the period of where we started to where we are today, back in 2018, as a commerce division. That's pretty phenomenal growth. In the commerce division, I wanted to give you a little bit of history too, to let you all know what makes up commerce. That is Choctaw Print Services is in the commerce division. That's a subsidiary we purchased in 2005. That consists of printing, direct mail, promotions and approval, gifting, design, and finishing. 76% of that is internal work, and 24% of that is external work that we are selling to external individuals. Then we also have a gaming and hospitality, 22 gaming operations, as you all probably are very aware of, but I don't know that everybody in our virtual land is all aware of where all we are. We have 3 resorts. We have 4 freestanding casinos, and we have 15 casino twos. We have a 77 space KOA, and we also operate 8 gift shops inside our casinos. Our food and beverage consists of 55 food and beverage venues across Commerce. With that, we own and operate 3 Chili's in Atoka, Poto, and Grant. And then we have 2 Starbucks, 1 in Durant, east, north, and south in 2 locations. And we'll open up another brand new Starbucks in Ho Chi Town. We open up Ho Chi Town in spring of 24. Our retail is our travel plazas. We have 17 of those travel plazas. I'm not going to go through every one of those, but you pretty much know they're all on our reservation. And then we have three Choctaw country markets. That's in Boswell, my hometown. I'm very proud we've got a country market in Boswell, Oklahoma, and Colgate and Clayton. So I'm very proud of those. Agriculture is something I'm very proud of due to the fact that I act like I know a little bit about agriculture, but I probably don't know a lot about agriculture. But I love agriculture because that's our land. That is being the protectors of our land and taking care of our land and monitoring and operating our land. And in that, we run about 2,800 head of cattle. They're pretty much going to be all Angus and some crossbred. I'm very proud of those. And we harvest about 6,500 pecan trees down toward the Red River area. With that being said, on the 7 ranches that we manage about 80,000 acres of land, which is pretty phenomenal if you don't even think about that. But I know a lot of you wouldn't got to pick pecans this year down on the river. Well, that's some of our ranches. And then with that, we also have a 22,000 acre ranch on Daisy, part of that Daisy Ranch, that is a trophy hunting area for deer, for hogs, for turkey and fishing. So we're very proud of all of that. And then also a subsidiary of us is Choctaw Global. That is a subsidiary that is an extended arm, that's a diversification arm, and their budget for this next year will be about $2.7 million. So they're into that's the Choctaw Defense you hear about in McAllister. That is a Choctaw manufacturing that we've all known a lot about. It's our staffing, it's our Choctaw Global Hospitality, and it's also our Choctaw Global Investments. They have an investment arm that does a lot of investments outside of Oklahoma. We do investments all in Texas, and we do investments in other states. So that's a very valuable operation that we have there. With all of that being said, under the umbrella of Commerce, we have about 7,440 employees that manage everything that we do. We also have upcoming for this next year that we'll be opening up is our Ho Chi Town property. You heard a lot about that. 10 miles, I guess it would be north of Broken Bow. We've already broke ground on that, and that's already in the operations. Very proud of that. Very excited about that. That's about a $265 million expansion. We also will be opening up Reba's in Atoka, Oklahoma this year, Reba McIntyre's restaurant. We've gone in 50-50 partnership with her. Another great thing we'll do there is we're going to roll out our beef program. I'm so proud of this because for once in our lives, we have now met one of our strategies that we have, and we'll roll out our beef program to our public. It'll be our Choctaw registered cattle. We have all the pedigrees on those cattle. We can tell you everything that from that baby being born and put on that ground of where that baby, all the life of that whole baby, we can show you all the genetics, and it's phenomenal when you are able to look at that. And then we hope to, when we open up our Three Rivers processing plant this year, it's in Councilman Bohannon's district. We will then be doing a branded beef program. It'll be customer facing. You will be able to go buy the steaks at our markets or our travel plazas or wherever we have our steaks displayed. You'll be able to buy any of our hamburger meat, that type of thing. So that's very exciting when we do that. We will open that up in 23. We did a 60% partnership with that group of people, wonderful group of people, and we can't wait to get that off the ground. In Reba's, we did a 50-50 partnership there. So that's very exciting. So with all that being said, Commerce is the money arm of it. So it makes the money for the tribe. And we are the first big, I guess you would say, pillar of the strategy for economic development of Choctaw Nation. So, and we are the ones that generate the revenue. And so I very proud that we do that. Very fortunate we have all the checks and balances that we have in place. And if you ever have a question of me or a question of anything that we do, any of these council members can get you in the right position to be at a direction to talk to us or ask us. And, you know, our world's out there. You know all about us. I mean, we're asking for a budget this year, went before our council for $769,740,000. It's a big number. But our revenue will probably be around close to $2 billion that we'll bring in revenue. So, you know, it's just, after you break it all down, it's pretty phenomenal what we do. So I'm honored to be here today. I'm honored to be able to speak to you all about our budget. As I say, it's a first in history for me to ever be able to, in 40 years, that I've ever been able to tell my budget request to anyone. And I give that compliment to this council setting here and our leadership. We want to be very transparent, and this is part of the transparencies of our tribe. Very honored. And I thank you so much. And thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, SEO.
Thank you.
And Teresa Jackson's next.
Well, good morning, everyone. As Janie said, I'm Teresa Jackson. I am over member services. I've been with the tribe 23 years, and for some reason, I'm not nervous, but Janie has made me so nervous to get up here, and because she's never nervous, and now I'm thinking, what have I missed? But I'm very excited to be here because I get to talk about my passion, and that's being able to provide services for tribal members and to be able to give them a hand up when they're needing this. One thing that, as Assistant Chief mentioned and talked about our pillars, a lot of my programs fall under improving the quality of life for our tribal members, and that's something that not only I enjoy doing, but all of our staff does. Before I get into this, I did want to just make one comment. Over the past couple of years, we've seen a lot of changes. Because of COVID and the pandemic, we had to take a step back in how we're providing our services, how we need to get those services out. And as the world around us was closing down and going home, our services never stopped. We continued to work for our tribal members. We had to change the way we did that. Our meals on Wednesday, they had to be drive-through. Our employees mask up. They put their PPE on and they went forward and they provided those meals. Our CHRs and community-based social workers continue to provide those services. They did a lot of those visits on the front porch or from their cars. Our health system went in and did a lot of telehealth visits, so our tribal members did not have to come into an environment where they could potentially catch COVID. We also did all of our testing outside through drive-through testing. So we had staff standing out in the cold and the rain and do all those testings. We also provided services for our summer youth virtually, so they didn't have to go out into the public areas and work. We did some virtual things, and it still allowed them to be able to get income during the summer. So as we're trying to get back to normal, we're trying to expand our services. One thing that we have happened to us in the past, past 3 years, in 2018, our tribal membership has grown by 26,000 members. That's a 14% increase. And so as those individuals are looking at us for services, we've had to be able to expand some of those services. So I have 11 pages of expansions of things that we're trying to do. So I will talk very fast and go through all of these. The first area I want to go in and talk about is our tribal member services. That is $118.6 million worth of services that we provide, not including our construction that we're doing. As Assistant Chief mentioned, our housing program, we are going to continue to build the 316 homes, which is a combination of our LEAP, our affordable rental, and our independent elder home. So we're very excited about that. In addition to that, we're doing an expansion of 2 daycares, one in McAllister and one in Idabel. That will increase for McAllister to add additional 54 children to be able to get child care and 24 children in Idabel area. We're starting a new program, and that's our STEAM program for our students. That's to be able to advance them in the areas of science, technology, the arts, and math. And so we'll be rolling that program out this year. Our STAR program we've had for numerous years, and that's where our students with perfect attendance, A's and B's, get a gift card at the end of every semester for what they've done. Normally that has been $25 for A's. We're going to double that, make that $50. So our kids will be able to get more because of inflation and just to show that we appreciate what they're doing. The same thing with A's and B's will go from $10 to $25 is what we're looking at. As we've noticed in the past with higher education, we've had a lot more of our students going back to school. So we are increasing our budget to take care of the scholarships in higher ed, in our technology allowance and our clothing allowance to keep up with the demand of students that we have going there. Our summer youth program. Something else that we're very proud of and looking at doing is raising the minimum wage for our students that are in this program by $1 an hour for our Choctaw students. So they'll be able to increase their take home that they're having. The other is culture. So as we're moving forward and coming out of this pandemic, we're adding more money to culture so we can get back to do the things that our tribal members love to do, and that's getting back out with the public and teaching our students and going into the schools and our cultural programs. One thing that we are very, very passionate, and we have Ms. Carney up here, is talking about our language. And we're understanding that we're losing a lot of our language, our first speakers and everything. And so we're trying to preserve that. We've started a new apprenticeship program where we're having employees come in, hiring employees to learn the language and be fluent and then to go back out and teach that language. Housing. We've gone back and looked at our housing program at the request of council. Our homeowner assistance program for repairs, we're increasing that due to inflationary costs because the amount of the vouchers that they were getting was not actually covering the expenses that we've had. So we're looking at increasing that also. Our rental assistance program that we do from housing, several years ago, council approved an increase in the budget because we had over 250 people wait on a wait list. Because of council's increase several years ago, we don't have a wait list anymore. And so we're wanting to continue to add money to that so we don't have people waiting to get assistance through our rental assistance program. Our storm shelter program, we're increasing that also, the voucher amount because of the inflationary cost. So that will be not only for our in-ground, but our safe rooms as well. So we're increasing the cost there. For our outreach, we sit back and again, I've talked about the CHR program. We look at the workload that the CHRs are doing in each of the districts, and we're adding additional staff there, 2 additional CHRs to be able to go out and help our tribal members. One thing because of COVID that we had to really sit back and look at is our tribal burial program. I know a lot of times for our tribal members, when we go out and we assist with food, we've increased that this past year from $200 to $300 to assist with food. We're also looking at adding an additional $500 voucher for individuals for things that the voucher does not normally, our program does not normally take care of. And that will be like to help with headstones, burial plots, opening and closing the graves. So we're working with additional $500 to do that. Our summer youth, we've come back adding more money to that for our youth camps, and because those are returning back to normal. We've seen a record number this past summer of people coming in for that. Our posse program has seen a record number of individuals. Our high school student services program has had a 44% increase in applications over the past year for individuals using that program. Our adult ed program has had a record number of individuals graduate this past year. And so we're very proud of all of those programs. Those are just the things that we have through member services. On the health side, that is a $297 million budget that we're requesting. That's for our hospital, our clinics, and our wellness centers, our nutrition programs. In the past, we have seen a growth not only in our encounters. We've gone from 2.1 million encounters to 2.3 million encounters throughout our health system, which is a 4% increase. Some things that we're looking at on the construction on the side is building a new wellness center at Wright City. We have not have a wellness center in that area. And one that I know that everyone is very excited about is the McAllister Clinic expansion. That will more than double the size of McAllister Clinic. We look at the wait list that we have there in that area. We're going to be doubling family practice, doubling pediatrics. We're going to be offering CAT scan services through radiology, which we don't there, expanded lab services. And so that is something that's much needed depending on, because we look at the wait list that we have in those areas. As far as in the other clinics, again, we sit back and we look at the wait list and how long it takes people to get in to see a provider. We are adding family practice providers at Tallahena, at Durant, at Stigler, and at Hugo. We're adding another pediatrician in Poto, another dentist in Durant, and a speech pathologist in the Poto area. We're also looking in Tallahena at our residency program, and we have a grant to add another 4 new residents there, and that should give us an additional visits of 1,200 more visits that we could get in through the residency program. We're adding more people in the Durant for the wellness center. Our dental program, we've talked about this a little bit. We're looking at paying for crowns for our tribal members. We're working out a program that will be able, I'm seeing some claps here in the audience, that we'll be able to expand that and cover the cost, assist with the cost of crowns that we have there. Again, 11 pages, so I'm trying to be as quick as I can with all of this. And a lot of this is inquiring and hiring more staff to take care of our needs in those areas. We're looking at expanding in our patient relations, the area of where they assist with medical expenses to help with providing reduced costs if someone has to go out and they have trouble covering their medical expenses, and helping those individuals with that. And I could go on and on with a lot of these programs. I just wanted to touch on the highlights here. Again, we're just very excited about some of the programs. We're very excited to spend Janie's money is what it is. We as much as Janie brings in, then we sit back and we try to figure out a way to be able to expand these programs and cover and take care of our tribal members. So again, thank you so much for having us. Thank you, council, for being able to be up here and speak about this, something that we're very excited about. And Ms. Tammy Gwynn, who is over our analytics department, will be here next to go over some of her programs.
So the ladies made me nervous too. So, Polito, I'm Tammy Gwynn. I'm Choctaw from Latimer County, and I've been with our tribe for 32 years. Assistant Chief asked us just to tell our audience a little bit about ourselves. So I started working for our SEO of Commerce for the first 25 years of my career, and was privileged to work with her on helping build our gaming and hospitality enterprises. It did give me a first row seat to understand what the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act did on giving us a pathway to tribal self-sufficiency and self-determination. I moved when Chief Batten took over and won his first election as chief to another role as business and economic development for the tribe. Today, that development department has grown to be strategic development, which helps our tribe tribal-wide, not just our commerce division. I'm going to talk a little bit about the departments that work under our division. It's new. The first is our Office of Strategy. For the first time, the tribe rolled out a tribal-wide strategic plan 2 years ago, and Assistant Chief went over what our 5 pillars of our strategies are. So every dollar that is spent, or every dollar that we are looking at to bring in and tied to capital, we make sure that those are tied back to one of our strategic initiatives, and that we are doing what we said. Business and tribal development is our second department. It supports our divisions with development of business cases. They include forecasted financial models, staffing plans, and outcomes if it's a service or program. And these go to our executive tribal leadership, our SEOs we support, such as travel services and commerce, so they can make data-driven decisions. This year, we have approved for FY23 around $310 million in capital funding that Tribal Council has approved in council bills that we will be implementing throughout this fiscal year. That team currently is also working on another $300 million in planned projects and initiatives that we are working on the analysis for. These include ARPA projects as well as we roll out in response to the COVID pandemic. Reporting and analytics is one of the most important departments that we started about 2 years ago. We've always ran it under our commerce division, and Janie is very passionate about running our businesses, and that's how come her growth has went over 40% over the last 5 years, according to what the data says. We are now applying that methodology across our tribe and understanding what the gaps are in services, the number of tribal members we are serving, and what those needs are, and applying that to reporting that we provide to our executive teams to help make those decisions. Operational excellence supports our guest experience. Those teams work hand in hand with our divisions to deliver the highest level of guest service. And they navigated through some challenging times during the COVID pandemic when lots of changes were made on how services were delivered. Teresa alluded to those, from our CHRs and folks delivering on the doorstep to us speeding up and implementing CHATA, which is our digital application. So we did not have to touch and hand out paper applications to our tribal members. Economic and Small Business Development is the department that looks at external business growth coming into our reservation. The Choctaw Nation understands that we cannot own every job and supply every job within the 10.5 counties of the reservation. So we do work with our communities to recruit external industry to come in, so our tribal members would have an alternative on places to work. This past year, our economic development team participated in the Oklahoma Native Economic Impact Report that was published. Was part of all the tribes of Oklahoma that posted a $15.6 billion economic impact to the state of Oklahoma. Our tribal impact for the Choctaw Nation was $2.5 billion that was reported, and our dollar amount supported over 18,000 jobs within Oklahoma. We also work on business recruitment and expansion. So this past year as a success, we rolled out and deployed a lead generation service. It allowed us to identify and give to our community partners companies that were looking to expand or relocate within the region, so they'd consider the Choctaw Nation Reservation for their locations. We also have updated our Grow Choctaw website that is dedicated for industries to look at for demographics when considering, and Grow Choctaw Facebook page. On tourism, with our Choctaw Country brand, we do promote all of the Choctaw Nation's tourism assets, which includes the beautiful state parks and our national parks, which Ho Chi Town and Beavers Bend is one. So we can attract industry to come in. And I'm looking at our Wilburton folks, Roberts Cave, for instance, to come in and visit our beautiful locations, as well as our casino tourism locations. Our small business department has grown over the last year substantially. We have went in 2021 from 736 Choctaws in business. We called them Choctawpreneurs. And we hit a milestone in 22 of 1,295 Choctaws in business within the reservation. It's a 56% growth. How we've done that is on last fiscal year's budget, our tribal council approved for us to hire one small business advisor for every district. So we are there where our Choctawpreneurs are running their businesses, and we can help them and assist them as they grow. Advanced Technology Initiatives is our tribal review and our innovation on how we're looking at and how we're going to lean in to technology and what is the next businesses beyond gaming. We developed a national test site in Daisy, Oklahoma on our 44,000 acre ranch where we are doing testing of drones and also research. We continue to build on this national test site and forge industry relationships, hopefully to attract leaders in this industry to choose the reservation for future job creation. One of the largest recognitions we received and was proud to do it is our chief and our executive director of the program spoke at the White House Advanced Air Mobility Summit this past year. We also had leadership that served on the Beyond Visual Line of Sight publication that was produced and published by the federal government. As we move forward, we understand that we are the backbone of helping our tribal service SEO, our commerce SEO, and our other support departments that are coming up on to help the Choctaw Nation to continue growth patterns and hopefully going in the right direction. This year on our budget, our division is asking for $1.4 million increase, which is 5.6%. We are part of the general fund, which is the overall budget. And we are asking for one new employee. It is a data scientist that would be moving data over in reporting and analytics. And the balance is due to market rate increases that were implemented tribal-wide as part of our employer choice program that was rolled out mid-year and not budgeted for. We also will be opening up a new Durant Chottapreneur Co-working Center this coming year. We opened our Idabel location for Chottapreneurs this past 60 days. We did not travel for tourism trade shows to promote our reservation tourism attractions due to COVID. And so therefore we are budgeting to attend 26 travel shows that are part of that for this next year. In closing, I want to say Yako Ki to Tribal Council for all of your support for the departments that are under our division, and also tell the SEOs I really appreciate everything that we do working with you, and it's an honor to be here and to continue to serve our tribal members. Our next speaker is John Hobbs. He's over our Marketing and Communications Division.
Halito, thank you, Council, for letting me speak. Thank you for being here to take interest in what's going on inside the Choctaw Nation. For those who do not know me, my name is John Hobbs. I'm the Senior Executive Officer of Communications, proud Choctaw member, been with the Choctaw Nation for 21 years. A lot of you know me from my previous role. I spent 20 years working in or running the Public Safety Department. I've had this role for just under a year. Was asked to come in and bring the communications to the next level. So the budget that I'm asking for is $29 million, which is $4 million over last year's budget. The reason is, as I mentioned, to bring the department to the next level. Underneath the communications department, we have the government relations department, marketing, PR, and special events. And some people ask why our government relations department is important. If you don't deal with politics all the time, you don't realize that they're constantly pushing out legislation. And if we don't have someone that is watching this closely to make for sure that they don't put language in there that harms either our economic interest or our sovereignty, then we're playing catch up. So we've always got someone keeping a close eye on that to make for sure that we know what's being put into the language and we have a say in that. In the past year, they've been focused on, of course, the elections. And so we are always building partnerships and working with the legislators, working with those people running for office to make for sure it's going to be a good fit for the Choctaw Nation, a good partnership to not only benefit the Choctaw Nation, but also the state of Oklahoma as well. Some of the things that they focus on is the strength of the nation-to-nation relationship, along with nation and U.S. relationship. Again, we have new people coming into office. A lot of times they don't know a whole lot about the tribe, they don't know a whole lot about the Choctaw Nation. We want to make sure we're partnering with them and finding ways that we can not only benefit the Choctaw Nation and the state of Oklahoma in partnering in anything we can do to grow together. Expanding the economic and community development of the Choctaw Nation, of course. And important, something that we really focused on this year, supporting and getting Native Americans out to vote. I don't know if you know this or not, but in the previous election last month, there was only 26% of the voters inside the Choctaw Nation that got out and voted. The state of Oklahoma has more Native American voters than any other state except for Alaska. We have a huge impact if we use our voice. But the problem is trying to get people registered, trying to get people out to the polls. And by that number of 26%, you can tell we're not doing our job as Native American voters of getting out and helping make those changes. So I encourage you and encourage your families to please get out and vote and let your voices be heard. In the marketing and communication piece, we've done a great job over the years of promoting the brand for the casino. We want to continue doing that, but part of my role in taking this to the next level is how do we do a better job of telling our story of who we are as a tribe. We've all probably had it happen to us where you mentioned the Choctaw Nation, they're like, oh, the casino. Well, that's great. We want them to know our casinos. That's where our revenue comes from. And we want to continue that. We want to keep taking it to the next level. But what do we need to do to raise the bar on them knowing who we are as a tribe and what we have to offer? Some of the items that we're focusing on is growing the department. We've added 20 employees last year. We've got another 5 in the budget this year. We're focusing on building out the communications team to be able to meet the continued demands of PR, social, creative, and events team for all the communication functions, and to bring more of that work in-house. So in the past, we've pushed a lot of that work out to businesses. In growing the department, we want to find ways to save money by bringing that work in-house. It gives us better control over what we're doing, and also, like I said, saves us some money there. Promoting the Choctaw Cultural Center. If you hadn't had a chance to get to the Cultural Center yet, it's a beautiful facility. Trying to get the word out about it, trying to make for sure, even though we got construction going on, it's a little hard to get to right now, that people know it's there, and that we're able to push that out and try to get people to come in, whether they're coming up for the day to see it or whether we're on our grounds at the casinos or one of our events that they go across the street and actually see the Cultural Center. Focus on enhancement of Together or More. You've probably seen those commercials out there. We're starting to refresh that, try to get that out there, encompass more about who we are as a tribe and the Choctaw Nation. In doing that, we want to make sure we highlight success stories and inspire associates and our community members. Develop a holistic recruitment marketing campaign to support the talent needs for commerce, health, and the government side. As we all know, it's getting extremely hard to find employees right now and to keep employees. With the working from home, so many people now can work from home and do work anywhere in the United States. So it opens doors. So we have to do a better job of recruiting these people in from the marketing side of it, so people know what jobs are out there, know what's available, know how great it is to work for the Choctaw Nation and what we have to offer our employees. Enhance our internal communication strategy. This one's also tough. You know, we're not a small business. It's all in one town. We're not a small tribe that's in a very small reservation. We're in all or part of 13 counties. It's a huge area. So just trying to communicate to our employees in all the different divisions and all over the entire area is sometimes difficult. So we're focusing on how do we do that better? How do we make sure they get the information they need even as employees? Further develop the media relations to ensure that the Choctaw Nation is accurately represented in issues such as McGirt. As you might have noticed, we don't always see eye to eye with the governor. So when he runs articles, we want to make for sure that our voice is being heard too, that it's not just his side or it's not just someone else's side being told. We want to make for sure that our chief our leaders, our council are telling our side of the story, and everyone hears both sides, and it's not one-sided. The elevation of all the Choctaw businesses and services through the owned, earned, and paid media. It's also our job to help the businesses and all the other services to get the word out of what they have to offer, the commercials you see, the billboards you see, that type of stuff to help support them. And identify and support opportunities to tell the Choctaw Nation story through the channels like film and television. So we're looking at how can we take it to the next level of not only telling our story, but how do we capture our culture and our heritage? We've had so many during COVID pass away, and they have skill sets that we're losing. We have seniors out there that does beadwork and speak and have traditional food recipes that we're not capturing. So how do we do a better job of capturing that, making videos, making those available to the public, that we can capture that and help hold on to that tradition and teach other people. So those are just some highlights that we have going on in our division, what we're looking to spend the money for, and how we're looking to try to get the Choctaw Nation to a different level on the marketing and communication side. Appreciate the opportunity to get out to speak. Appreciate, as I said, y'all coming out to actually take interest in what's going on. And I believe next I'm turning it over to Kelly, who is over Integrated Services.
Thanks, John. Good morning, Mr. Speaker, Council. Thank you for having us here today, and Assistant Chief for making me be here today. Thank you all the guests. So you've heard from all of our people that make the money and some of the support. I have a part that we call Integrated Services. So Integrated Services is support, really. Integrated Services mean that, we've tried to combine all of it like IT to where it supports the whole nation instead of having separate parts of IT. So under Integrated Services, we have property operations, information technology, HR, and procurement. All those programs together, this year budget is going to be $225.8 million. So what they've asked me to do is kind of show how we've grown and the reason why we've grown. So in the past 3 years, that's a $76.1 million increase just for my programs, our own departments alone. Underneath my division, we have 1,400 associates, employees. We support all the other divisions, but we don't just support the divisions and the general fund and the government. We support legislative branch. We support the judicial branch. So it's throughout the whole 10.5 counties. It takes a lot of staff. So I'll go into it with tribal property operations. Under the tribal property operations is construction, real estate development, which real estate development consists of project managers that support construction with the business, and they give the back and forth and the bridge between them. We also have land and title, natural resources, road department, and facilities maintenance. Well, you can imagine the growth in that department and tribal property operations. We've increased $18.7 million for the past 3 years for a total budget of $57 million. So a lot of the things that's caused that growth is, of course, Janie wanting to build, always wanting to put something in. She mentioned Hochtown. We just done the casino, the new casino. We're redoing the old part. There's a lot of council. They're getting new wellness centers. They're getting new community centers. That all takes support from our departments. Just in the past 3 years, we've added 35 additional properties. That adds a lot of support needs as far as more headcount for mowing the yards, maintaining the buildings. Also, we've added 432 new homes to maintain, and that's not just in specific areas. Those are further out, so that also needs more additional headcount. In the past 3 years, they've increased their headcount by 80 staff alone. The next department we have is human resources. I don't think I need to explain human resources so much, but there's a lot of different departments under human resources, like recruiting, learning and development, OD, Also comp and benefits. I know you heard the assistant chief earlier mention that one of the strategic initiatives is becoming the employer of choice. That's a big lift for HR. So I think everybody thinks of HR, you know, we do benefits to attract staff and to help our employees. We also do things like to try to grow it. You know, we also maintain our comp. Last year, we put $30 million back into our staff because inflation went up and everywhere else was, you know, places were getting paid $13 an hour went up to $18 an hour. And our turnover rate was just outpacing our higher rate. So what we've done is the council approved and the chief and assistant chief said, we're going to put money into our staff and added $30 million into that to get people up to where they could make a living. The next one is information technology, IT. I think everybody knows what IT is. We have a couple IT staff here. There's a lot of things that you don't see with IT. Most people think, you know, a computer, but there's a lot more to it. You use technology every day with your phone. I mean, it's heavy, and you've heard that, you know, data, we can't do anything with it. If the internet goes down, it's IT's fault. They don't care that it's working, that they get credit, but we could get blamed for it. So our IT department has a $122.3 million budget, and it's increased $35 million over the past 3 years. Okay, for IT, the biggest growth for IT is salary, of course. We have 50% of our budget in IT is salary alone. We also hire a lot of outside contractors to try to cut down on recurring costs. I think that team does a really good job of trying to save the tribe money. We also do a lot of secondary support. We average 1,800 help desk tickets a week. 1,800. That means somebody's laptop, internet, phone that they have to put in a ticket and get up. That's 1,800 a week. So that's and that just keeps growing. Matter of fact, last week it was 2,000, but we're still averaging 18. With additional headcount, and I didn't mention it, but I was going to. The tribe in 3 years went from 9,400 associates to 12,100. So that's a pretty good increase. So with that comes licensing. People don't think about those costs like your Microsoft Office. I mean, the small things that you have, the Adobe, the stuff to run your day-to-day operations, you know, just at the user level. We also have over 500 applications that we support, including that, and then all the way up to our millions of dollars of programs, such as our ERP that runs our whole Choctaw Nation, that finance uses, that HR uses to keep our head count, our budget, and that's all done through that. So that's what our IT, they stay pretty busy. The last one we have is a procurement department. So procurement department is what you think it is. It is somebody placing an order, calling and saying, I need a pen, pencil. They also do the heavier lifts. They help with all the other divisions when they need big products. And I want to brag on a little bit this past year so far, by doing sourcing, bidding out, that type of thing. They saved around $5 million that would have been spent if we just called and said, hey, I need this product, and they would have just ordered it. So that team, and it's a smaller team, I think that they have 135 people is all they have to take care of 1,200 or 12,000 staff wanting things. So they do a great job. Terry Long is our executive director of that. He runs really tight ship and does it with a minimal staff. A couple other things that they've done, they've added more programs onto them, like motor coach operations. I know the seniors was really wanting to get our buses back on the road, so we brought them back on, and that's underneath our procurement division, our department. We've added the receiving docks and everything, taking a little bit more off of our businesses so they can run their business and we can support them that way. But that's really what integrated services is all about. That's all I have. I'll be followed by Brian Denker, legal and compliance.
Well, as Kelly said, I'm Brian Danker. I'm the Senior Executive Officer of Legal and Compliance, and been with the nation now about 4 years. And before that, I was in private practice. I was in private practice for about 20 years before I came here. And it's really been a pleasure and an honor to work with this team that just spoke, to work with the council. I know they're very proud of the tribe, and I know the tribe is very proud of all that they do. But it has
that I'm really
okay.
That it's really kind of stressful.
Excuse me, is that Chief?
Hey, Chief, your mic's hot.
Chief?
Or somebody's mic is hot.
I think that's what it is.
Just turned it off.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you, Chief. Anyway, so I'm over legal and compliance, and I think they'd asked me to go last just because everyone always wants to know about legal and compliance. I know you've all anxiously been awaiting this. And Mr. Speaker knows how attorneys are, so he's asked me to be brief and keep it under 30 minutes, and I promise I'll do that. So as SEO over legal and compliance, it encompasses risk management and then our legal side. Our risk management department, it includes our workers' comp, which we have the lowest workers' comp injury rate in the state. It is just incredible what a job that they have done, making sure our workers are safe, doing worker training, videos. There's all these different things that they do to make sure that all of our associates are safe in their workplaces. We also have insurance, and they not only oversee insuring all the assets of the nation, but they're involved in when we have litigation, those type of things, any property damages, those type of things, seeking recoveries for the nation. And again, do a phenomenal job. They put together a program called Captive Insurance, and that's where we're working on becoming self-insured. And that's due to the large amount of premiums, and we pay millions and millions of dollars in insurance premiums each year. And by bringing some of this in-house and taking some of this on ourselves, it's allowing us to save these millions of dollars that can then be put back into tribal services. We have a long-term goal of being able to provide insurance to other tribes and being able to offer discount insurance programs for tribal members. And so that's eventually where we want to try to take that program to. We also have the audit department. Our audit department, they basically try to go out and they do audits and basically help the managers of the different departments know what's going on within their departments, making sure that they're complying with policies. We have certain regulations and things we have to comply with, and they help do a lot of that work. And as the nation has grown, all of these jobs with these groups have grown. We have environmental, and environmental kind of encompasses conservation, wildlife. As you know, we've now got a Fish and Wildlife Department, and this involves protecting our resources. We're working on environmental codes that will soon be rolling out for Tribal Council to approve, and that will basically set some standards and help us ensure that our properties remain healthy environments for all the different things that we want to do. Another aspect of the risk management is compliance. And for our compliance department to operate our gaming operations, we have a lot of rules and regulations that they have to follow. Our compliance department, they are the ones that are responsible for ensuring that happens. And so they go out and work with our various locations and our various departments, and they have periodic reviews, and they make sure that we comply and that we can continue to operate our gaming. Now, with all of that and the growth that the nation has seen, our risk management department has gone from a budget of $15 million approximately 3 years ago to a request of almost $23 million this year. And again, that's just due to the incredible growth that we've seen across the nation. And as part of that, we have to have more auditors. We have to have more compliance people. We've had to add conservation people for our wildlife department. We've had to add people to administer our Fish and Wildlife Code. And so all of that has resulted in this increase in this budget. Our legal department, it is comprised of 4 divisions. So we have a commerce division, and those attorneys, that group of attorneys, they provide assistance to Janie for all the things that her commerce division do. We support that. And that's our goal across all of these divisions, is we provide support so that they can all do their jobs. We try to make sure that they're aware of any risks that might be out there, and we can answer any legal questions, help them form any businesses that need to be formed, provide advice on the best business setups. We review approximately 2,000 contracts per year. And again, try to make sure that we have terms that are favorable to the nation in all of those contracts. So commerce team, they handle that. We have a government team, and they focus on all the other aspects that have to do with the nation. So they help Teresa's team, the health department. We help with all the codes, member services. We help with all of those various departments. Again, answering any legal issues that arise, providing a defense should anything come up where anyone tries to make a claim against us. And really just, again, trying to make sure that we provide the services that are needed for those departments to function and function at a high level and ensure that we don't incur any risk. As many of you have probably heard, the McGirt decision, that impacted our sovereignty. That was something that allowed us to basically bring more cases into our tribal courts. And as we've seen incredible increase in expense as a result of that. But that has been a great thing for us. Instead of our tribal members going to courts outside the nation, we're now bringing those cases inside the nation. In 3 years ago, our court system would have seen about 50 cases in a year. We are now at over 2,000 cases. And so as a result of that, we went from, when I arrived here, we had one contract attorney that handled our prosecution. We now have over 20 people in our prosecutor's office, and they have filed over 2,000 cases. Now, along with that, you see the increase not only for our department, but Teresa sees an increase in her member services and the things that they have to provide to those going through our court system. But this is another way for us to exercise that sovereignty and strengthen the nation. So we have added not only prosecutors, we've added workers that support victims. And then we've added, like I said, people in Teresa's department that provide services to those going through our court system. That can be help with employment, education, housing, a lot of the things that you see that underlie the causes for the criminal activity. We provide services to help correct that. And I have to give a big shout out to what they do, because I've worked in the state system for years, and we do such a better job taking care of our tribal members that go through our court system. That's both on the defendant side, the person that's charged with the crime, and on the victim side. And I'm really proud of what the nation has been able to do. And it's, I think we're the model for the nation on how these things should be run. And that's, again, a tribute to the council and a tribute to the leadership that's in place here and the importance that they see in this. And it has been at a very high expense. I think we've spent well over $25 million now as a result of McGirt. But again, we are doing things much better than what the state can do them, and we're taking care of our people. And that's what's important. But as a result of that, as I mentioned, we went from 1 to 22 people, and we'll continue to see some growth in that area. One of the other things that came about is we saw an increase in the number of people going through our court system. Those that go through our courts have the right to have an attorney. Not only do they have the right, they have to under federal law. And so we have established a public defender's office. We were the first tribe in the state to establish a public defender's office, and one of the few in the country that has done so. And so we now have 7 people in our public defender's office, and those attorneys, they provide defense to the people going through our court system. And why that's important, again, not only do you have constitutional rights that guarantee that, but we want to make sure that our tribal prosecutors and our police officers are doing what they're supposed to do. We want to make sure that things are done properly. And if we're going to charge someone with a crime, we want to make sure that we have the evidence to support that charge. We don't want people to be wrongly convicted in our courts. And we have a very strong public defender's office, and they've done a great job, again, working in this judicial system. And just wrap up, going back to what our strategies are and what we really try to accomplish for legal compliance, our number one goal is defending sovereignty. Defend and expand our sovereignty. And so we do that in a multitude of ways. One is through the implementation of McGirt, like we talked about. Another is through implementation of various codes. As I said, we're getting ready to roll out some environmental codes. Again, when we do that, that pushes out others to regulate that. So we can do that ourselves. We do things like we regulate our food safety. So we have a code that does that. So rather than have the state or federal government come in and be in our restaurants and our facilities checking food safety, we handle all that ourselves. We have our own workers' comp codes. So rather than have to have state or federal agencies in here looking at our workers' comp issues, we handle all those ourselves. Those are all done internally. We have our own worker safety codes. So rather than have OSHA or the federal government come in to on our reservation and doing inspections and things and have them in our business, we take care of all of that ourselves. And so we're always looking at other opportunities to expand our sovereignty and protect what's already there. And the hunting and fishing was a good example of that. And in the past, we had a compact with the state. The governor chose not to renew that compact. So we have a right, a pre-treaty right to do hunting and fishing. So we have established our own codes, set up the processes to do that. And this will be our first full season going through where the Choctaw Nation tribal members have a right to hunt and fish within the reservation and be subject to our codes rather than the state codes. So it's another exciting example of how we're expanding sovereignty. But with that, like I said, we're asking for a total budget of just over $33 million this year. And, you know, we really are conscious of those dollars. We know that every dollar we spend here is a dollar that may not be able to be used for a tribal service, but we do see a lot of value in what we do. We save the nation a lot of money as far as on, again, many of the litigation, different things that happen. We have filed amicus briefs in 23 different cases over the past 3 years. And those are cases like the GERT, where we're, again, arguing that our reservation still exists and expanding our sovereignty. They are cases that involve Indian Child Welfare Act. And there's multiple challenges going on against the Indian Child Welfare Act, which is a critical act that protects tribal children. And so we have filed briefs with the Supreme Court on that. And we filed briefs, again, asserting our sovereignty and pushing our sovereignty to keep the state from being able to prosecute our tribal members. And that's all I have. As far as those departments, I would tell Mr. Glass that I'd be happy to visit with you afterwards if you'd like and talk about the issues that you may be having. And with that, I will turn it back over to Assistant Chief.
Thank you, Brian. Mr. Speaker and Council, just a few comments. I promise I won't go as long as our senior leadership team has, but it's a lot of information, and I hope you've enjoyed it today. And I hope it's been an awareness for all of you, especially those that are not here in person but are able to watch via the internet. I hope it's been certainly enlightening and educational for everyone. But one thing I did forget whenever I was speaking about our budgets is just a little bit about the process and just a real quick overview of that. So this leadership team here that you've got to hear from, their leaders in their individual teams create that budget, and it's rolled up to them each year. And they have, I hate to say hundreds, but dozens of meetings with their leadership team before it ever rolls up. And we then, myself and the leadership team, gets to discuss those budgets. So they are vetted and gone through over and over before it ever reaches council. And so I just want to say, thank you to this leadership team for their hard work, not only day to day of their focus in their individual divisions, but they're providing the services to our people. They do a wonderful job, and they've done a great job of presenting this budget to you today. But thank you again, Mr. Speaker and Council, for allowing us to be here and present today.
Thank you, Sister. All right. Hope that kind of enlightens the audience, and especially the ones that are virtual. This is a big, Choctaw Nation is a big engine. And on behalf of Council SEO, we certainly appreciate everything that you do. All right, moving right along. Number 8.
Speakers.
Yes.
I'd like to say one thing. I do appreciate this is the first time they've our senior executive officers come, and we ask them to. I think they did a great job because we need to be transparent. Our people need to understand where all the money comes from and where all the money goes. So I appreciate them so much. I'd also like to say one more thing about our tribe. Our total budget, or total assets, is at $4.8 billion as of this year. So that's pretty phenomenal too, Janie.
Certainly is, Councilman. Thank you. Good note. Okay, moving right along. Election of Speaker. If there any nominations,
Nominate Thomas Williston.
Second.
any other nominations? This motion dies for lack of any other nomination. I guess motion dies for lack of.
Receive.
The motion doesn't die. It's, yeah, we just, nomination cease and your acclamation.
Okay. Yes, I am elected by acclamation. Speaker pro tempore. Any nominations?
Nominate Tony Ward. Second.
Any other nominations, Speaker pro tempore? Again, nomination ceases for the lack of a second nomination. The motion for secretary.
Ron Perry.
Second.
On Perry's. Any other nomination for secretary? Nomination ceases. There a nomination for chaplain of the Choctaw Nation Tribal Council.
Jennifer Woods.
I'll make a motion. We receive nominations.
Nomination ceases. All right. Item number 9, appointment of sergeant at arms. I just make the motion that sergeant at arms remains as is, as standing. Larry Bahotubby.
Second.
You don't need to be voted on. You're just appointing them.
Okay. Parliamentarian. We have a lawyer in the house. One too many. But I think this gentleman has done us a fantastic job. Mr. J. Renly Dennis shall remain as our parliamentarian. And recording secretary of Choctaw Nation Tribal Council. I'll make a motion that the recording secretary of Choctaw Nation Tribal Council will remain Patty Hawkins. Moving right along, item number 10. This measure has been taken care of previously. We shall move on to our new business.
Council Bill, Mr. Speaker. Council Bill A, rescind CB-64-22 and approve a service line agreement in favor of Comanche Electric Cooperative on line held by the USA in trust with Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma and Chickasaw Nation of Latimer County, Oklahoma. Mr. Speaker, I make motion we vote on this council bill.
Motion has been made.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any questions or comments?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, the purpose of this council bill rescinds Council Bill CB 6422 and approves a service line agreement in favor of Comanche Electric Cooperative on land held by the USA in trust for the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma and the Chickasaw Nation. Council Bill 6422 and the related exhibits incorrectly failed to list the Chickasaw Nation as having an interest in the property. The agreement was not fully executed. This bill rescinds approval of the incorrect agreement and approves the correct service line agreement. This service line agreement is for the purpose of providing electrical service to the Choctaw Nation Forestry Building in Tallahena, Oklahoma.
Any further questions, comments? Well,
Speaker Williston,
yes.
Tony Ward,
Yes.
Eddie Bohannon,
Yes.
Jesse Henry,
Yes.
Ron Perry,
Yes.
Jennifer Woods, Joey Tom,
Yes.
Perry Thompson,
Yes.
James Dry,
Yes.
Anthony Dillard,
Yes.
Robert Carr,
Yes.
James Frazier.
Yes.
Council Bill B, approve an amendment in the tower and ground space lease dash business lease number 42000286644 in parentheses G09-1889 between the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma and the United States Cellular Operating Company of Greater Oklahoma, LLC. Mr. Speaker, I make a motion we vote on this council bill.
Motion has been made.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Questions, comments?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. The purpose of this council bill is the bill approves the amendment to the tower and ground space lease between the Choctaw Nation and the United States Cellular Operating Company, USCOC. The original lease was approved by Tribal Council on October 18th, 2016, and the lease was executed on February 21st, 2017. The original lease allowed for the use of the water tower and adjacent land at the Capitol Grounds in Tuscaloosa. The original lease allowed the placement of cellular base station operations, including related telecommunications functions on the water tower and the locations of radio station equipment shelter in land adjacent to the water tower. The amendment replaces Exhibit B in Council Bill 1517 with Exhibit B1 and allows for an equipment update. No other terms of the original lease will be altered. This completes my report, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Councilman. No further questions, comments? Vote.
Speaker Williston,
Yes.
Tony Ward,
Yes.
Eddie Bohannon,
Yes.
Jess Henry,
Yes.
Ron Perry,
Yes.
Jennifer Woods, Joey Tom,
Yes.
Perry Thompson,
Yes.
James Dry,
Yes.
Anthony Dillard,
Yes.
Robert Carr,
Yes.
James Frazier.
Yes.
Council Bill C, approve application for the FY22 Indian Housing Block Grant Program, competitive grant application. Mr. Speaker, I make a motion we vote on this council bill.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Questions or comments?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. The purpose of this bill is to approve application to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development for the Indian Housing Block Grant. Competitive grant application. If awarded, funds from the grant will be used to construct up to 30 affordable rental homes on sites that are project ready in Calera, up to 10 units, Hugo, up to 10 units, and Atoka, up to 10 units. It's a maximum federal award of $7.5 million with Choctaw Nation zero match.
Thank you, Councilman. Any further questions, comments? Vote.
Speaker Williston,
Yes.
Tony Ward,
Yes.
Eddie Bohannon,
Yes.
Jess Henry,
Yes.
Ron Perry,
Yes.
Jennifer Woods, yes, Joey Tom,
Yes.
Perry Thompson,
Yes.
James Dry,
Yes.
Anthony Dillard,
Yes.
Robert Carr,
Yes.
James Frazier.
Yes.
Council Bill D, to approve application for the partisan and infrastructure law preventing outages and enhancing the resilience of the electric grid formula funding grant. Mr. Speaker, I make a motion we vote on this council bill.
Motion has been made. Second. Motion been made and seconded. Questions or comments?
Mr. Speaker, if this application is for a grant is awarded to the nation will use the award to support the electrical cooperatives within the reservation boundaries to provide contractual labor and purchase and install equipment. This year one funding maximum award for this is $600,000.
Thank you, Councilman. Any further questions or comments? Vote.
Speaker Williston,
Yes.
Tony Ward,
Yes.
Eddie Bohannon,
Yes.
Jess Henry,
Yes.
Ron Perry,
Yes.
Jennifer Woods, yes, Joey Tom,
Yes.
Perry Thompson,
Yes.
James Dry,
Yes.
Anthony Dillard,
Yes.
Robert Carr,
Yes.
James Frazier.
Yes.
Council Bill E, approve application for the FY23 Special Diabetes Program for Indians. Mr. Speaker, I make a motion we vote on this council bill.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Questions or comments?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, the purpose of this council bill is to approve the application for the FY23 Special Diabetics Program for Indians. This program provides continuous insulin administration and glucose monitoring, nutrition education, and dental services for patients.
Thank you, Councilperson. Any further questions? Comment? Vote.
Speaker Williston,
Yes.
Tony Ward,
Yes.
Eddie Bohannon,
Yes.
Jess Henry,
Yes.
Ron Perry,
Yes.
Jennifer Woods. Yes. Joey Tom,
Yes.
Perry Thompson,
Yes.
James Dry,
Yes.
Anthony Dillard,
Yes.
Robert Carr,
Yes.
James Frazier.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to point out there's a typographical error on item F. The FY should be 2022.
Thank you, Patty.
Good note.
Council Bill M. Approve application for the FY 2022 Indian Community Development Block Grant, in parentheses, ICDBG. Mr. Speaker, I make a motion we vote on this council bill.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Questions or comments?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, the purpose of this bill is to approve application for the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development for Indian Community Development Block Grant, ICDBG, to rehabilitate low and moderate income member housing. The maximum federal award available for this grant is $2 million, with a Choctaw Nation match of $2 million if awarded.
Thank you, Councilman. Any further comments? Vote.
Speaker Williston,
Yes.
Tony Ward,
Yes.
Eddie Bohannon,
Yes.
Jess Henry,
Yeah.
Ron Perry,
Yes.
Jennifer Woods, Joey Tom,
Yes.
Perry Thompson,
Yes.
James Dry,
Yes.
Anthony Dillard,
Yes.
Robert Carr,
Yes.
James Frazier.
Council Bill G. Approve the disposal of surplus capital assets, dash equipment. Mr. Speaker, I make a motion we vote on this council bill.
Second that, Mr. Speaker.
Motion made, seconded. Any questions or comments?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, the Choctaw Nation has capital assets that are broken, obsolete, have exceeded their useful life, or simply no longer have use to the nation. The bill asks for approval to dispose of furniture, fixtures, or equipment with an original cost of $45,490.46 and a net book value of $10,150.00, including all listed inventory. That's the purpose of the bill, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Councilman. Any further comments? Vote.
Speaker Williston,
Yes.
Tony Ward,
Yes.
Eddie Bohannon,
Yes.
Jess Henry,
Yes.
Ron Perry,
Yes.
Jennifer Woods,
Yes.
Joey Tom,
Yes.
Perry Thompson,
Yes.
Dry,
Yes.
Anthony Dillard,
Yes.
Robert Carr,
Yes.
James Frazier.
Yes.
Council Bill H. Approve the disposal of surplus capital assets, dash vehicles. Mr. Speaker, I make a motion we vote on this council bill.
Second that.
Motion made, seconded. Questions or comments?
The Choctaw Nation has capital assets that are broken, obsolete, have exceeded their useful life, or simply no longer have a use to the nation. The bill asks for approval to dispose of vehicles with an original cost of $55,190.50 and a net book value of $0.00, including all listed inventory. Purpose of the bill, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Councilman. Any further comments?
I would like that. Go ahead. You
Well,
can pull it up.
Was you gonna read?
Yeah, no, I don't have it.
Okay, yeah, add to that, I'd just like to say the Choctaw Nation is going to have a fleet auction at Durant on September 17th for a lot of our vehicles. This is a Choctaw tribal member only auction, so I posted on my Facebook last night, but the auction is, let's see, the company's name is United Country Clearview Realty and Auction in Atoka. And so if you want to look them up, if you want to go bid on that, that's September the 17th.
You can view on the 16th.
You can view on the 16th, and it's going to be at 3210 Enterprise Boulevard, Durant, Oklahoma.
Thank you, Councilman. Any further comments? Vote.
Speaker Williston,
Yes.
Tony Ward,
Yes.
Eddie Bohannon,
Yes.
Jess Henry,
Yes.
Ron Perry,
Yes.
Jennifer Woods, Joey Tom,
Yes.
Perry Thompson,
Yes.
James Dry,
Yes.
Anthony Dillard,
Yes.
Robert Carr,
Yes.
James Frazier.
Yes.
Council Bill I. Approve the funds and budget for the year one of the FY 21 University of Florida Medication Adherence and Cardio Metabolic Control Indicators among American Indians receiving Tribal Health Services Sub-Award. Mr. Speaker, I make a motion we vote this council bill.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Questions, comments?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, the purpose and need of this council bill is to approve the funds and budget for year 1 of 4 of the University of Florida Sub-Award to better understand obstacles to medication adherence and how to identify diabetic patients that may need additional supports as aligned with goals of the Diabetic Wellness Center and Pharmacy Services.
Thank you, Councilman. Any further comments? Vote.
Speaker Williston,
Yes.
Tony Ward,
Yes.
Eddie Bohannon,
Yes.
Jess Henry,
Yes.
Ron Perry,
Yes.
Jennifer Woods,
Yes.
Joey Tom,
Yes.
Perry Thompson,
Yes.
James Dry,
Yes.
Anthony Dillard,
Yes.
Robert Carr,
Yes.
James Frazier.
Yes.
Council Bill J, approve funds and budget for year 1 of the FY 22 Zero Suicide Initiative Grant Dash Project ICSHO. Mr. Speaker, I make a motion we vote on this council bill.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Questions or comments?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Purpose needed this council bill funds will be used to provide licensed mental health providers in the Tullahena area, which will assist patients in mental health crisis, provide mental health referrals, facilitate inpatient referrals, and provide training to medical providers on mental health topics. That's my report, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Councilman. Any further comments? Vote.
Speaker Williston,
Yes.
Tony Ward,
Yes.
Eddie Bohannon,
Yes.
Jess Henry,
Yes.
Ron Perry,
Yes.
Jennifer Woods,
Yes.
Joey Tom,
Yes.
Perry Thompson,
Yes.
James Dry,
Yes.
Anthony Dillard,
Yes.
Robert Carr,
Yes.
James Frazier.
Yes.
Council Bill K, enter into a tribal transportation program agreement with United States Department of the Interior Dash Bureau of Indian Affairs. Mr. Speaker, I make a motion we vote on this council bill.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Questions or comments?
Mr. Speaker, the purpose of this council bill, it is a new agreement, and it's to approve the nation's Tribal Transportation Program Agreement with the BIA. The TTP allows for the transfer to the nation of all the functions and duties related to road planning and construction that the Secretary of the Interior would have performed. The TTP also allocates the federal funds associated with these functions and duties to the nation rather than the Secretary of Interior.
Thank you, Councilman. Any further comments? Vote.
Speaker Williston,
Yes.
Tony Ward,
Yes.
Eddie Bohannon,
Yes.
Jess Henry,
Yes.
Ron Perry,
Yes.
Jennifer Woods,
Yes.
Joey Tom,
Yes.
Perry Thompson,
Yes.
James Dry,
Yes.
Anthony Dillard,
Yes.
Robert Carr,
Yes.
James Frazier.
Yes.
Council Bill L, approve the FY/2023 annual travel budget of the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma. Mr. Speaker, I make a motion we vote on this council bill.
I'll second.
Motion is made and seconded. Questions or comments?
Mr. Speaker, the purpose of this council bill is to approve the FY 2023 annual travel budget in the anticipated amounts of, with revenue coming in at $2,454,764,389. Operating expenses of $1,543,972,770. Maintenance and capital expenditures of $44,343,692, with a cost of goods sold of $508,204,278, with a net revenue from operations being $358,243,648.
Thank you, Councilman. Try to say that.
Mr. Speaker, may I add something? I just thought to again reiterate what Councilman Carr said, just appreciate all the work that the SCOs did, especially coming up here on Saturday and presenting not only to tribal council, but to all of our tribal members that are here and across the nation. And there's a lot of work that goes into a budget, especially that large, and appreciate the job that, chief and assistant chief going through those. And then, this council, as far as, we have our different divisions, but the finance committee, this year we were able to go to a lot of the budget meetings, ask a lot of questions, and the SEOs got to share a lot of information. So each year the budget process gets better, easier and easier to follow because it is a huge undertaking, and just appreciate what they do and the SEO's leadership and also the associates that execute the budget. The ones that, I don't care if you're cleaning the restroom or you're making a bed or you're flipping a burger or whatever you're doing, they're the backbone of the nation that drives that revenue, and giving up holiday weekends at the casinos and CHRs and social workers driving on rainy, snowy days to take care of our tribal members. And I see the sextons here today. Appreciate, because we do listen to our tribal members. The burial deal was a big thing that came up this past year with COVID and stuff. And, they came up and presented a couple of times, and they're here today. And we're able to, add, funds to that. Thank you very much for the information, and even the crowns that tribal members, had come to all this council and leadership wanting, for crowns and stuff. So we do listen, and just appreciate all the work that goes into the budget, and appreciate all the SEOs and chief and assistant chief very much for this year's budget.
Thank you, Councilman. Well said. Any further comments? Vote.
Speaker Williston,
Yes.
Tony Ward,
Yes.
Eddie Bohannon,
Yes.
Jess Henry,
Yes.
Ron Perry,
Yes.
Jennifer Woods, Joey Tom,
Yes.
Perry Thompson,
Yes.
James Dry,
Yes.
Anthony Dillard,
Yes.
Robert Carr,
Yes.
James Frazier.
Yes.
Council Bill M, amend the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma Fish, Game, and Animals Code. Mr. Speaker, I make a motion we vote on this council bill.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded. Questions or comments?
Mr. Speaker, the purpose of this bill is to amend the Choctaw Nation Fish, Game, and Animals Code. The council has authority under the Constitution to enact legislation, rules, and regulations to manage tribal property, and the chief has the authority to faithfully execute the laws. The Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma Fish, Game, and Animals Code recognizes and regulates all wildlife found within the nation. This code regulates the nation's land and resources, and defines claims and exercises the nation and the nation's members' rights to hunt, fish, and gather on lands that are within the jurisdiction of the nation. This amendment will update the bag limits, season dates, updates to bear regulations, and updates sportsman responsibilities. This is an ongoing effort, and as circumstances change in the field, the nation will assess, and changes will be reflected in this code. Mr. Speaker, some of the highlights of the changes are the trout limit has been changed from 3 to 4. Bag limits on deer have been brought to, I believe, to be the same as what the state allows, which is 6 deer. There's been a change to the raccoon limits. There's actually no limit on raccoons now. There's been some, I think we've made a bear check-in on Chota-Cheffa. And so I just want everybody to realize that this was, there's been a lot of work going to this. It's not nowhere near finished, I don't think, but our attempt was to get this thing where with bear and deer season approaching, that a tribal member could go out and hunt and clearly understand what the laws are. And I think they've done that. They've made it a lot better. And we do realize that there will be more changes. And if a tribal member sees a problem with it, get a hold of us. I think any council member will just get a hold of your council member, and we'll get it to the right people and look into making the changes. That's all I have, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Councilman.
Mr. Speaker, I think I'd too like to add that there you do, if you harvest a deer, October 1st, you do check it in through our portal system, and you'll have to have that carcass tag, because we follow our rules and regulations to make sure that they check in their deer through our portal system. And I don't know if, Mr. Thank you, anything else? I know the information, this passage right now, that there'll be information come out for the wildlife codes and different things and what they need to do to check in the process within the next few days. I think would be on Facebook and then the Nation website. Is that correct?
Yeah, it'll be on the website, it'll be on Facebook. We'll push it out all the meetings of media that we can.
I'd also like to add that another thing that I've had several people ask about is the requirements with muzzle loading rifles. The part that only allowed you to use metallic sights didn't allow a scope. That part of the law has been struck, so you will be allowed to use a scope just like anyone else in Oklahoma. So that's an improvement also. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Councilman. Further comments? Vote.
Speaker Williston,
Yes.
Tony Ward,
Yes.
Eddie Bohannon,
Yes.
Jess Henry.
Yes.
Can you repeat that, Jess?
Yes.
Ron Perry,
Yes.
Jennifer Woods. Yes. Joey Tom,
Yes.
Perry Thompson,
Yes.
James Drive,
Yes.
Anthony Dillard,
Yes.
Robert Carr,
Yes.
James Frazier.
Yes.
That's on council bills, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, for the benefit of the audience, information to the audience and the listening audience, we have reviewed these council bills this past Thursday, as we customarily do 2 days prior to council's regular session. So with that, any other new business?
Speaker, oh, I'm sorry, Robert. Wait. No, you go ahead. I just want to congratulate our princesses. We have Senior Miss Choctaw Nation from District 9, Haley Gibson. And I just couldn't be more proud of all the girls that participated, but especially Haley in District 9, that just to watch the growth of her the last 3 or 4 years, where she is as a young Choctaw today. Just very proud of her and all the girls.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to second that for District 12, for our little miss and our junior. And if we'd had a senior in there, we'd probably got that.
I certainly agree, Councilman Zion, Councilman Frazier. That I'm confident we'll be represented well.
Yeah.
And it was a great festival. I think something we had not seen in the previous festivals, that a lot of the princesses from it came from California, and they participated. And the Chickasaw Nation, a lot of the princesses got on stage for the first time, and it was really, really nice to see. It really was. Other than that, any old business? Hear a motion for adjournment.
Mr. Speaker, one thing I'd like to say, kind of piggyback on what Councilman Dry and Assistant Chief and others had to say. I want to thank the staff that we had a very successful Labor Day festival. And again, one other group or whatever I want to thank very much is those that couldn't attend because they work at our commerce divisions, our health centers. Those guys there, they don't get to enjoy the festival like most of us get to do. But I want to thank them for staying back and working hard for us. Appreciate their dedication and their time.
Thank you, Councilman. That's good words, and I just like to know that they are truly appreciated for what they do. Any old business? Hear a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Vote.
Speaker Williston,
Yes.
Tony Ward,
Yes.
Bohannon,
Yes.
Jess Henry,
Yes.
Jess Henry,
Yes.
Ron Perry,
Yes.
Jennifer Woods. Yes. Joey Tom,
Yes.
Perry Thompson,
Yes.
James Drive,
Yes.
Anthony Dillard,
Yes.
Robert Carr,
Yes.
James Frazier.
Yes.
I'd like to take a moment to thank the crowd for coming, the audience, the ones that are listening in. We'll be here next month, so thank you again. Have safe travels. Let us stand for a closing prayer. Chaplain.
Our Father, we just thank you, Lord. We just give you the many thankfulness, gratitude in our hearts for the privilege, Father, to be here, Lord, and to have the business at hand. But be with us, Lord, as we go about this new season, Lord, that is upon us of work and service, Lord, and help us. I lift up everyone that our senior leadership team that's here, but our council, our chief, assistant chief, everyone, Father. I just lift them up to you, Lord, and ask that you be with us and help us, Lord, guide us, Lord, and help us to rely on you and to put our trust in you and our faith in you, Father. And we know if we do, Lord, that we will continue to be blessed and to grow and to move forward in the direction that we have. And Father, we just ask you again to give us traveling grace as we go about our different districts and our different areas, Lord. And let us just always be mindful, Lord, of the love that you give us, the strength that you give us, and the guidance. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Oh.